Call the office at 572-0383 or 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Hi, this is Lotus. Join me every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia for Unrestricted. What we don't talk about, what we should talk about, and what we will be talking about. Don't forget to join me every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia for Unrestricted.
It's now time for Unrestricted, hosted by the beautiful Lotus. Lotus, it's good to see you again. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Andre. Good to see you as well. I'm so happy to be back, Andre. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, everyone. I just want to give a thank you and shout out to both of you and Jeshai for holding down the fort.
He did a great job.
Yes, he did. I got all the feedback. I listened in between.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to see if I could listen a little bit. So people were like, Lotus, I think your son is going to take over.
Well, so, that's the way it should be.
Yes, so he did. So I was very happy about that, Andre. Thank you for accommodating him. And
of course.
The chemistry was very good.
Just like you.
So I was happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm. We actually spoke. I mean, I think I can say so. We actually spoke about the possibility of doing a youth show. Yeah, program for young people.
Okay.
I think he'd do well.
Yes, people love his voice. They were like, they like his temperament. Yes. So I was really pleased. I'm very proud.
And he's way ahead of his age.
Yes, very mature.
All right.
Well, I am back this morning. I had a really nice vacation. Sometimes it's good to take the time to travel and to be with your own thoughts, especially when things are going on in your life. You need to recalibrate and revamp, and sometimes your mental health need a check as well, where you just need to be quiet and refocus.
I've heard that it's not wise to take a vacation in St. Lucia because it's never a vacation.
It's never
So you agree with that?
That's very good advice. Yes. And what I did this time, I was able to do a 3 generations vacation. So it was my mom, my daughter, and myself. So 3 generations.
Wow.
So I mean, it was incredible, and also an eye-opening thing as well. Part of it that inspired the show this morning, Andre. This morning, I want to engage our listeners on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, online, on radio, just for us to talk about this, because as you know, Unrestricted is about a myriad of things that sometimes we really don't talk about. And this morning, I think it's something that we really don't address. And I think I have a little bit of a sort of a bird's eye view about it, because I can relate a little bit. And this morning, we're going to talk about the silent aging problem between parents and their children. Right, Andre? We're going to talk about aging. Now, you grew up with your grandmother, your grandparents, so maybe at that time you didn't really see, because that's what you knew mostly. But this morning we're going to talk about, just the aging, how you see your parents get older and you're getting older, and you also have the opportunity to reflect on your own self getting, you're getting older and your children come after you, and just the gap in between, and some of the things that happen, and we really don't talk about it because a lot of it is uncomfortable. So for most of us, when we were younger, we couldn't wait to grow up. I mean, perhaps we yearn for the freedom that adulthood brought. Ironically, now most of us have experienced aging and adulthood. We might wish we could rewind the time. We wish that we could go back and when we were younger and when we had less worries. So the silent aging problem between parents and their children involves unspoken resentment, frustration, and emotional strain that arises when aging parents need more support and adult children feel overwhelmed for caregiving responsibilities, conflicting expectations, or the lack of empathy. Andre, that's a serious thing, because I mean, and I was inspired by that because I was on vacation with my mom and my daughter, and the spectrum was so different. It really shocked me because I was so used to my mom being this vibrant, my mother used to walk so fast that I used to run behind her, like little children running.
Yes.
I used to be running because she was always a woman that was about her business, right? She and then now at my age, my daughter, who is young and vibrant and wants to do the things that I don't care about, so I'm in the middle watching the two of them. My mom now is much slower. She cannot enjoy certain things that she used to enjoy. And it just dawned on me, wow, look at the difference between, the ages. And so I realized that it made me feel a way. There were certain things that happened, and I felt, what, this is something. I spoke to a few of my colleagues, and they were like, this is something that is so daunting. Like, a lot of us don't speak about it, but it really happens, Andre, and you get that shock. So now you have a young Nairobi. There will come a point where she doesn't want you to be there.
That's true.
She doesn't want you to go nowhere with her. There's a time where you have to enjoy being there with them and just having fun. And there's another time I remember my son, when I took him to high school, I was coming to kiss him goodbye, and he said, no. I felt like the plague. He didn't want me to kiss him because it just made him look less cool.
Yes. I remember my experience with my son, Hassani, because we were like tight, right?
That's right.
At the time. And the day it really, really hit me was, I think he was like maybe around, maybe 11, somewhere around there, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And we went to the cinema, as we normally do. But he did say to me, he wants me to take him to the cinema so he can meet his friends, right?
Yes.
So we went to the cinema, and I bought my ticket and all to go inside the cinema.
You were not in it, Andre?
Go inside, and tell me, where are you going?
Exactly.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean, where am I going? I thought he said, no, I'm there with my friends.
And you so oblivious of the fact that you're not included.
Yeah, I was
shocked.
Not included. I was shocked.
Oh my gosh, Andre.
Like, what?
So, but it's a serious thing, especially on the aging of parents, and their children. And so it can manifest as unspoken fears of becoming a burden, parents feeling that their independence is threatened, and children feeling their lives are interrupted. Addressing these tensions requires open communication, empathy, and proactive planning for the emotional and practical challenges of aging. We must address it because it is not going anywhere. Because some of us, we don't even think of the fact that our lives may change significantly because we have good relationships with our parents, and all of a sudden you find yourself maybe having to take care of your parents, or even in rare cases, sometimes parents have to take care of their aging children, of their growing children. Sometimes something may happen and you find yourself being under your mother's care again.
Yes, health issues especially.
Exactly. So, but nobody talks about the effects of it. The emotional, psychological, physical changes that some of us see, and we are in shock. We close our eyes to it, or we don't want to talk about it. And there's a certain aspect of it that is also embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, I was walking with my mom, and I held her hand to cross the street, and she, almost towards the end of the street, she pulled her hand out of my hand. And I think it was because, I'm just assuming, but when I looked at the whole situation, because she has always been so independent, hyper-independent, a woman, I think it also makes her feel, no, don't hold my hand, I can walk, I can take my time, to walk. And I thought about it myself, oh my gosh, maybe I wouldn't want my daughter to hold my hand if I feel, because I'm so independent. So the acceptance that you may need that sort of assistance is really daunting. Like, it's not something that come easy, Andre.
Yes. As you said, you feel embarrassed.
Look at you. You're so independent. You think all of a sudden you want Hassani
to hold me by the hand.
Come and hold you by the hand and tell you, Daddy, come. No, it's not that side. or you're unaware of certain things, Andre, because you just at that stage and age where certain things diminish and you're just not the same person. So I think this morning it would be appropriate for us to just break down that conversation, and let's talk about it. I definitely would like our callers to engage us. So
sure.
Give out the numbers.
No problem. If you'd like to call unrestricted, the fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or the WhatsApp platform, it is 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. Again, fixed line 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971.
Okay. So let's break down the causes of silent aging, right? The causes of silent aging. There's conflicting expectations, Andre. Very old parents may expect support, while the adult children may anticipate freedom of their own later years, leading to frustration. You know, some of our parents, of course, after they work so hard for us, or, you know, they've lived their life where they've provided financial support, they've provided all kind of support for us. The expectation is that you will be there for them when they start getting old.
Yes, yes. In fact, my grandmother was very clear. Please do not put me in a nursing home.
You see? Mm-hmm. So the expectation, I think a lot of us don't realize that we don't address that expectation. Is it that your parents expect you to take care of them, or is it that they can take care of themselves, maybe financially, and they have something in mind, as opposed to your grandmother who said she didn't want to be in a nursing home? Mm-hmm. Some parents saying, I don't want to be in a nursing home, and I'm sure the expectation is that you're supposed to take care of them. Or if they want to go in a nursing home, the expectation is that they have the finances to take care of themselves, or you are supposed to pay for it. So the expectation is a discussion that we don't have.
And guess what? I think a lot of parents probably do not have that discussion with the children.
That's what I'm saying.
They think that the children would automatically know, you don't put me in a nursing home.
That's right. So the expectation is something we don't discuss. The other spectrum of that expectation is the fact that I, at that time, expect to be free, expect to be roaming the world. I mean, at 45, 50, a lot of us start to, we have some money in the bank. We want to go on vacations and enjoy ourselves and not be bothered by our aging parents, in our food tour. We have to, call them, or we have to spend money, or they want to come on vacation with us and slow down the process. Some of us, we don't think of that. So these are some of the expectations that nobody discusses. So you really don't know what you want, or you really don't know, what's happening in your own life. All you know is that you want your freedom at a particular age to be able to travel, to be able to do what you want. And you don't even think of the fact that you have a parent or two that may need that support, and you may have to now rethink how easy your freedom is, or lack thereof, right? We might think we have all the freedom, but we don't, because we have an aging parent. I mean, I have some friends who have to financially, every month there's a financial obligation to their parents, and certain things they have to do, caregiving. And so that job or that responsibility, it does take away from your own ability to do some things for yourself, because of course there's a reduced amount of funds that you would have had if you didn't have that these responsibilities. So they're talking about the first one being the conflicting expectations that we have that nobody talks about.
Let me ask you, Sis, about I'm not talking about. Do you think that this is a conversation parents should have with their children? This issue of when they become old people and they can't work anymore, they're unable to move about and so on. Yes. Do you think that they should have that discussion with the children? Do you put me in a nursing home? Do you not put me? Is this a discussion you need to have?
Yes, these are discussions.
I'll tell you why I say that. I remember there's a particular person, right? And all his life, he had it very, very hard, right? In fact, the vast majority of his life, he had it really, really, really tough. And for a very, very good reason, which I will not say because people may know who I'm talking about. And one time, I remember he had a debt, okay? And he told me I think he had 3 or 4 children, and he had a debt. And I asked him, I said to him, but why don't your children help you with that debt? He said to me, my children are worse off than I am.
Oh, wow.
So that means financially, they were not doing well at all.
And that's the thing we don't talk about. You see that when the first one we talk about conflicting expectations, sometimes as parents, I think we always think of the forward movement where your children will be able to be better off than you, and sometimes the children are worse off and they cannot even give you anything, right? And so the expectation is shattered. So of course there must be certain conversations, Andre, I think that a lot of us do not want to have, especially when we don't have much. I think we run away from the conversation even more, because if you have, right, I mean, if I'm able to, I have an estate, and it's an easier thing to have a conversation in my mind, because I know, okay, I have this, I'm aging, I would prefer that you guys sell, or I'll sell this, and this money should be used for my care, maybe in a home or not, you know what I mean? But if you don't have much of anything, that conversation I think is even more eluded. People do not want to talk about it. It's a point of frustration and maybe a little bit of embarrassment as well. So but I do think that people need to be talking about these things.
Of course.
I think it's important. The other thing is the unplanned dependency. Aging parents' needs can create unplanned dependency, straining relationships emotionally and physically. That's the thing. The unplanned dependency, Andre, where you live in your life and you're so used to just living alone, and all of a sudden something happens maybe to your parents or somebody in your family, and you now have to take on that responsibility of taking the person in and caring for that person.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That dependency is unplanned. How do we navigate that? Do we say anything about it? Because some people think that it's automatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to you, it's automatic that Hassan, it takes you in. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
there's no stop in the discussion to say, well, no, Dad, I wouldn't take you in. Nairobi will take you in instead, and I'll come over. You know, that kind of thing?
And there's a flip side to that scenario where people who are generally living alone, where they die, right? They die at their residence and nobody knows.
That you see what I'm saying? So that unplanned, these things that happen, and they are unplanned dependencies. We don't know what would happen, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in situations that, it's just different. So that's another symptom of the silent aging problems that we have. The other thing is the lack of empathy. And the lack of empathy is a critical one, Andre, because a lot of us are not at that stage and age, and we don't
lack
have
of
the
empathy
patience.
From whom and to whom?
It could be from the children, the person, not the aging person.
And when you say empathy, you're talking about the understanding
aging, understanding what they were going through.
Okay.
Adult children may struggle to understand the challenges of their aging parents, leading to a perceived lack of empathy from the parents as well. On both sides. We have a call?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
So
Good
this is
morning.
Unrestricted with Lotus.
Good morning.
Morning, Lotus.
Good morning. How are you?
You heard me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay. That's such an interesting program as usual.
Yes, thank you.
I live in the US, and so does my first child, my son. And back home, sometimes if a family member dies, you get everybody pitching in, patching up, and they come in for burial plan and some payments. But I think up here now, up here is much different. The struggle is more real up here. So he has been asking me to make sure I have a burial, something set aside. That's the only thing I've been really encouraging me to do. Mommy, burial is very expensive up here. Make sure you have a plan, you have something for if you die before me, because he'll not be able to afford it. And I was forced to take on some life insurance because it has that burial plan attached to it.
Yeah.
I did that because I don't want, if I go before him, that the boy's struggling. That's not back home. Everyone will put in $100 and come with the money. And I had to do that because that's absolutely important. And this program is so interesting because honestly, we have to set these things in planning and making before we leave, before we part. Thank you. I'm listening on my phone because I'm actually on a moving vehicle right now.
Okay,
So
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
One of the things
she's calling from the diaspora.
Yes, and one of the things she said that's critical is the difference in communities. She was saying that here we can all pull together and give a little 200. Not all the time, people don't. But if you're in a larger society, sometimes it's a lot harder to come together and give. And so these packages or these instruments, people should focus on making sure they have as part of their plans.
Let me just give the numbers again as a reminder. Don't forget the fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. This is Unrestricted.
So we were talking about the lack of empathy, Andre, and we're talking about that on both sides. They were saying that even sometimes the parents don't understand, what is going on with their own children in terms of understanding where they're coming from, and the same is true vice versa. You don't understand. It's frustrating because you see your parents that's accustomed to being so vibrant. You don't even understand enough how they have slowed down. So there's a little bit of some children may feel like their parents are lazy, or their parents just not doing what they need to do. You're just walking slow, or you're just not doing this, or you're just not doing that.
Or you're pretending.
You're pretending, yes.
Yeah,
so there's a lack of, yes.
That's one, you hear that one a lot.
Hear that a lot.
Don't worry for she's just pretending.
So there's a lack of understanding
And
between the two
empathy.
parties, and empathy, where, you don't get it because you're not going for it. And until you get to the place where you really, because I'm looking at my mom and I'm saying, oh my goodness, maybe I will be a little slower. That's how I will be a little slower. You start to ask yourself things, and I think the awareness, Andre, will help me as well with my own children, because I'm like, okay, this is what's happening, so maybe let me be prepared for it. As we all know, sometimes you could never be fully prepared for what would happen, because you just don't know what your experience would be. But having that awareness, that recognition to see your parent is slower, she's doing certain things more like differently, she's not as vibrant, she's not the person she once was. She may not hear some things that you're saying, and some of us, the empathy is not there because we lack awareness so much. You're speaking to your parent and they ask you to repeat themselves maybe twice, and you're frustrated.
What did you say?
Or what did you say?
I didn't hear
exactly. And be answering them with such frustration because you're like, I just told a lady that a second ago and she's not hearing. And then you don't even, the awareness is not there, so the empathy sometimes is not there as well. So that's one of the other things they're saying that is a cause of the silent aging problem. The fear of burden. Parents often fear becoming a burden, while adult children may feel pressured to provide care even when underprepared, which is what we spoke about. So sometimes as a parent yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to become a burden on my children. I don't want to become and of course, you hear people say that all the time, where people think of these things, even when they're sick, it makes them sicker, because they're thinking, if I die or if I sick, my children have to take care of me and I'm a burden on people. And people tell themselves that a lot. And I think it has a lot to do with ego as well, Andre. Like, because we're accustomed to taking care of ourselves and we do not want to become a burden on somebody else. So you tell yourself a lot of that. And it also plays on your psyche as well. You overthink. And I think that can add to the stress that already comes with an unhealthy body or an aging body. You have that additional stress on you. And of course, the children now are thinking, oh, now I have to take care of my aging parent. Will she be, she'll be a burden to me, or I will be in the house. I have to cut out this, I have to cut out that, especially depending on the kind of lifestyles that some of us have. And we may have to retailer that lifestyle to suit our aging parents.
Let me ask you, do you think that lack of understanding and empathy is more pronounced in situations where you have the children who have left the family home and they've moved out of the community, maybe gone to another community, or left the country and went to another country, right? They've immigrated. And you have those who stick close by. Some families build their homes on the same property, things like that. So there's always that connection there.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, do you think that sort of attitude, the lack of empathy and so on, is more prevalent with the children who leave the family home and move out, and maybe sometimes they barely keep in touch, sort of thing? They just figure as though, and another thing too, some parents, as you were saying a while ago, are very independent.
Yes.
And they take a pride in that they are independent.
Yes.
Now, sometimes that sends a message to the children that the parent is fine. Right? Because the parent doesn't complain, they don't say anything, I don't need help, they don't ask for anything.
That's the other thing, you're
and
right.
the children are thinking, he or she, they're fine.
And that's the silent bridging that I'm talking about, because some parents do not want to tell you, they do not want you in their face.
Yeah.
They do not want to tell you what is really going on in their lives, because it's almost like their independence is being threatened, or their ability to do something is
we have a call, but do you think that lack of empathy
is more
comes
for those
more
that are not there?
They move out and sort of thing?
I think, I don't think that's a blanket statement. I think it's only because they're not there on site. They do not experience seeing the day-to-day, changes
and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a not, I wouldn't say lack of empathy, but maybe they don't understand as much, or they don't feel it as much
as one of the siblings maybe who has stayed in the residence. Anyway, you have another call.
Yes. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Unrestricted.
Lucas and Andre, morning.
Good morning
to you, sir. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, very interesting topic.
Thanks.
I don't know, but recently I've been, I didn't used to listen to Rev-Up like this.
Well, I'm glad you're listening like this now.
I'm telling you the honest truth. But now I find Rev-Up is getting very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
That's good.
Interesting topic. Now, on this topic, you're about parents and children. Do you know, if you love your parents, taking care of them is like having fun,
So you think it's dependent on love?
Yeah. I was raised by my mother. My father was around. My mother left my father because, he was, I think he used to eat a lot of corn. So he had lots of heat.
Mm-hmm.
But I never ignored my father. I consider he's my father. In spite of what my father did to him, I love my father. I take care of him. I took care of him till he died. And my mother loved my mother. I mean, I had lots of love for my parents.
Okay.
So if a child or if children love their parents, taking care of them, it doesn't matter what situation they are in, it becomes like fun to them. To me, that's how it.
Okay.
Taking care of your parents should never be a problem, because think of it. Young carries you for 9 months, and then she bears. Your mother, anybody's mother can kill them in passing their children, from the womb. If they just squeeze their leg, you bet.
I guess.
You understand? So children should be aware of that. Okay? Take care of your parents. It doesn't matter what situation you and them are in. Love your parents. Take care of them.
Okay.
Now, Andre, I was the one who sent me the message about the Obia yesterday.
Oh, I remember. I remember.
Where I said I was working and I lose my job, and then someone advised me to go to an Obia man.
I remember.
And the Obia man brought me in a room and bathed me in a little basin of water. And after he bathed me, I felt a spirit came in me, and one came in and one came out.
Sorry.
So the bad one came out and the good one came in.
Okay. All right, my friend.
So when I went back to the...
But sorry. We have a topic, so we don't want to stray too much. But thank you very much. Thank you, okay? We'll talk soon. And thank you for listening. Yes. That's somebody from, I think he lives in Canada, I think.
One of the things he said, I thought that we should expand on a little bit. He said that if you love your parents, it should be like fun taking care of them. But it's not as easy as that. You can love I think we love our parents. A lot of us love our parents. But I think it's one thing for us to say we love each other. All of us, we love each other in whatever situation. But when we are going through the waters, it's a different thing. You have a call?
And there's some situations where the reality is the children are not in a position, either financially or emotionally.
Yes.
to take care of especially somebody who may be sick.
Sick, yeah.
Because I remember, again, my grandmother, she liked to communicate her feelings very, very clearly. She said, I do not want to die at the hospital. Now, I was trying to honor that request.
In love.
Right, in love.
Yes.
But the doctor, when I communicated that to the doctor, she said to me, Andre, you cannot, your mother is not well. You have to take her to the hospital.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay? So now I had to go back to her and try to explain that what the doctor said. So she understood. She understood. And what she didn't want is exactly what happened.
What happened? She died.
She died at the hospital.
So so you can love your parents.
There's some situations you genuinely, I genuinely wanted to stay home.
To stay home, but at the same time, it was not the best decision. And so love is good, but when we're going through it, these are the things. That's why we're talking about the things that come up and why some of us do not want to address these things, and it really takes a toll on your mental and your emotional, well-being. And that's the next point that we were going to come to: emotional strain, the need to face parental mortality and navigate caregiving for aging parents is emotionally challenging for adult children, right? So a lot of times people, emotionally, it really slaps you in the face, Andre, because you start to think of the death of your mother or your own demise. You start to, and some of us never even think of those things before seeing our parents actually aging. We never even came to that realization. We just live our lives daily. But then when you see certain things changing around your parents, it starts to hit you as to, okay, what am I dealing with? What if my mother was supposed to pass away? What if my father was supposed to pass away? What implications does that have for me? How do I address that? What, am I emotionally ready to start dealing with the conversations about that? Do I have things in place? Some of us just reject those conversations because we are so emotionally afraid of facing that. And it's inevitable, right? Because all of us are eventually going to die. So, but these are things we do not talk about until sometimes things happen and it just hits us, and some of us deal with it in a really, really bad way. So that's one of the things. So they're saying that the manifestations of the problem, when we do not address these things, there's a lot of resentment. Resentment can start to build. Unspoken resentment can develop when children feel that burden, and when parents feel that their attempts to remain independent are misconstrued. So you have resentment between the two, because now your parents thinking one thing, they're going through their own issues, and I'm sure the issue of aging itself, that's a set of issues that they are going through themselves, because we're going to look at the things that go down. There's a reduction, your eyesight, your ears, that kind of thing. And so they're dealing with that, and they also have to deal with the fact that now their children, how are their children dealing with their own aging? You know what I mean? Because you want to sit there and watch your parent. Your parent don't want to see you sitting there watching them to see if they will throw the tea down on them. You know what I mean? And then you now do not want to just leave the room to let her throw the tea down on her anyway. So you see that kind of gap in between where there's an embarrassment of maybe throwing the tea down, and then there's the embarrassment of not throwing the tea down, leaving me alone, let me do my thing. So you have that unspoken sometimes, and some of us can get very snappy because we were going through that. Sometimes a parent that was never mean might end up becoming very mean because she feels hoovered over, or the man.
Let me make another important point. In the case of my grandmother, right? She felt, despite the fact that she couldn't leave the house, right? She wanted to have money in her hands. Okay. Now, it wasn't for her to walk down the road, which she couldn't do. What I noticed she did with it was to, when friends, family came to visit, she would give them. She would share.
See, so it gave her a sense of
being
able to provide, still being able to give.
And sometimes when I'm broke now,
you have to go to her. and of course, maybe that made her even feel
she's still even contributing. And
yes, Andre.
So I just wanted to bring that point, because we tend
point.
to figure as though, okay, they're old now, right? I'm taking over, I'm taking care of everything to do with the finances and so on.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about too. That's a critical point, because in terms of resentment, that's a place where you can reduce that resentment.
Yes.
Where she still felt that she was in a position to still give, to still live, and living. Part of living is still being able to be you. To do the things that you really want to do, notwithstanding that she, like you say, she wouldn't be able to go down the road and spend the money. But the fact that she was able to provide that money in a way, a useful way, made her feel,
Yes. Okay, you have a call. This is Unrestricted with Lotus.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to...
We lost the call. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Yes. So
let me just get the numbers again. Fixed line 572-9710, 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. This is a very, according to Will Smith's son, this is a very sensitive subject.
Very sensitive subject.
So I think a lot of people tend to want to listen.
Yes, but these are the things we must talk about.
Because some people probably feel very, very strongly that, hey, I can't take care, but they wouldn't call to say that. You understand? I can't.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
So you have a call now.
We have a call now. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Andre, and
morning.
I came in a little late. Just a brief, please. Please.
He wants to know what you're talking about. Briefly.
We're talking about the causes of silent aging between parents and children. When your parents are aging and
Or you mean the causes of silent aging?
Well, when your parents are aging and you see the changes, and sometimes we don't talk about it, and it causes resentment and certain things between parents and children, adult children.
Oh, you want me to just talk about that?
No. We want you to comment on the subject.
Oh, comment, sorry.
Yes.
Andre, you okay?
I'm well.
Oh, okay. Well, to tell you the truth, I like using examples. Trees get old, right? Trees age, right? It's nature, and we are part of nature. So that's just common, in a sense. For example, when my mother, she's aging, she's 74. And I know she will not look young all the time, but guess what? With the aging, she's still pretty, But what I normally do, the speed they had, it reduces because everything diminishes, right? So what you have to do in essence, you just have to prepare for it, because you will not stay young all the time. You will age. And what we have to learn, because I am a young person as myself, I learn a lot from that. You call that grace, right? With aging, it comes with compassion, it comes with patience, and it comes with love. So that's an example to us young people, knowing that we will not stay young all the time. Aging will come. And what I want people to, especially the young men, to know out there, in fact, I speak in general, the young people, you'll not stay young all the time. You will. And you know what I always say? When people age, it's the grace of God upon their life. Because you see how people dying so fast these days? And with aging comes blessing, because there's not much people that can reach a particular age. Will you agree with me on that?
Yes, for sure.
So lastly, I just want the young people to bear patience, because they have a saying, once, how do you say it again? Andre, help me on.
What goes around comes around.
No, not that one. Once a man, twice a child.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah. Well, remember.
So with aging comes, as I said, it comes with you are not energetic as you were before. You'll be a little slower. So with the young people, I just want them to learn from that. Take a book, take notes, and just look at the way life is. Because aging itself, it's a process. Life itself is a process. You just have to learn. So, okay. God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Okay, again, numbers, fixed line 572-9710, 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971.
So you're talking about resentment. There's also the interference with the life, the strained independence, the avoidance and secrecy. And I touched that a little bit a while ago, where we say in avoiding conversations about difficult topics like health, money, and the end of life issues can worsen underlying problems between you and your parents. Avoidance and secrecy. So sometimes our parents have things they're not saying to us, right? They don't say certain things to us, and we sometimes have things that we don't say to our parents. Yeah. And that part is a really serious part, Andre, because the worst thing is that if your parent was supposed to pass and then you discover so many things that's happening with your parents, and Andre, the person who is alive, it creates even more resentment against the person who died. Could you imagine we have resentment against people who have died?
Yes.
Because certain things have been, there were certain secrets and we avoided certain conversations, and the person go to their grave, and all of a sudden now you have all the secrets exploding.
That's one.
And
another one is not having a will.
Yes, Andrew, exactly. And that creates a lot of issues between children, siblings, and family, and
it's stressful.
So it's very stressful,
very stressful.
Andrew.
So you're angry at the person.
Yes. So that avoidance and secrecy is one part of it, where we have to try to see if we can work on that. And so I want us to look at the biological and physical changes quickly that happens a lot of times when our parents or people start aging, right? First of all, we have our bodies are changing. We have your heart and the blood vessels.
I believe you have a call.
We have a call.
Mm-hmm. This is Unrestricted with Lotus.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Unrestricted.
Hello, good morning, Lotus.
Good morning.
Hello,
good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am fine. This topic is so good because a lot of us don't speak about it.
That's right.
I don't know where you're getting your topics, But because many people won't even talk about it. But then I will, because maybe others might have been going through what I'm going through, and I want them to know that, we all go through things in the process. We're not perfect.
That's right.
Lotus, growing up, my mom has always been somebody who is hardworking. She always finds things to do. She can never sit, doing nothing. And so life went on, and then she went to her 60s and her 70s, and she was still doing a lot of work on her 70s, and I'm seeing her slowing down, but still she wants to do. And then she went from her 70s, went into her 80s. She still wants to do a lot, but she... the body is telling her.
That's right.
The body is telling her, no way, Jose. Especially with the, they suffer with arthritis and different things. And I saw a documentary for a lady close to 100, and she was going to the gym. And I said, that's good for her. But with my mom, she still exercises. She does her own thing, but it's a little difficult for her. But she still finds things. Lotus, you must understand. Sometimes I'm looking at my mom. I'm looking at her well. I sit down and I watch her. She's figuring out what next to do in her brain. If she doesn't bake, she wants to cook. If she doesn't cook, now she's not moving around. But said there's someone who brings the things to her. She applies it and then she sends it out and so on. She's the same way, but slow.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. One day I just sat there and I said, oh my goodness, Mom has become, the ager that we have to understand her. She is not hearing in one ear very well. And sometimes you speak to her, 2-3 times and she wouldn't hear. And you said something, you all said something, and it's so true. You have to have empathy. In the beginning, it was rough because, you would say things 6 and 7 times and you'd think she understands. But now I would look at her and know whether she's hearing me or not. There's a certain face she has that you would know whether she's hearing you. And then when she's not hearing you, you understand?
Yes.
So, and then she, it just happened under my eyes that she aged. And she's not able to do what she used to do. And this has caused us sometimes to be a little depressed, huh?
Yes.
Because she would cry and say, the things I could have done before, I cannot do it now. So my brother and I, we keep on telling her, no, Mom, you have to understand, you're not 10 years anymore.
That's right.
You have to... But it's not an easy experience. Seeing your parents, can do so much and,
And all of a sudden,
and now,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So it's something that is very touching. We have to all go through it. Like Andre told you, I knew his grandmother, and I saw the lady always frying. She was always frying for Andre. Tell Andre that for me. She was always frying in the kitchen. I don't know what she fried. If it's fish, plantain, something, she always cooking in the kitchen for Andre. Don't mind him there. So, and then all of a sudden now you're hearing she's in bed. She cannot do anything for herself, like before. So it's not an easy thing, Lotus. It's nice that you have put this on so that we can relate and we can express ourselves.
Thank you so
But one
much.
of the things I can tell you I've learned from it is you have to have a lot of empathy. Put yourself in their place.
That's right.
Put yourself in their place. In the beginning it was difficult, but as time goes on and you do it all the time, you realize that it becomes simpler and it gets better. Okay,
Thank you.
Lotus?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Yes.
I really appreciate that
Yes,
contribution.
that's a nice
because
contribution.
that's exactly what it is, as you go through. Because when I saw my mom not being able to walk as fast, and I didn't even realize I was walking fast. And when I look, I see the lady right behind me, like a good distance. I'm like, oh my goodness. So now I have to. So the actual realization is not the easiest thing, but as she said, as you go over time, it's something that you begin to be more empathetic towards, and you start to be more accommodating.
Let me ask you, your two children, are they used to being around older people?
Yes, the grandmother was their babysitter.
Okay, all right.
A lot of the time. I think I only had one babysitter at the time. She couldn't be there, but they grew up with her. They are very protective of their grandmother. So whilst I was walking really fast, my daughter was the one really holding my mom and saying, "Mommy, Granny cannot walk so fast anymore." Because I, was moving on. But yeah, they see that. And I think even the grandchildren as well, it breaks their heart when they see their grandmother is slowing down because she has been, so vibrant before.
There's some young people who have no idea what it is to be around older folks. Huh?
Yeah, they don't spend time with their grandparents. Not my kids.
Yes.
Which is good for them.
Yes, some children are like that, and it's very, very challenging for them now when they are around or they get around older people.
Yes,
okay?
It's true.
I remember many years ago, it's important, I remember many years ago there was supposed to be a visit to the Marian home, right? And there was a teacher who was among the group who was supposed to be visiting, and she said, hey, you need to get the children ready for what they're about to encounter.
Wow.
Because they're not used to it.
They were not used to it, yes.
So they will kind of freak out, to see the way older people tend to behave. Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks for that, Andre. I just want to, because we don't have a lot of time, I just wanted to say, in terms of the physical and biological changes, your eyes, your ears, the memory goes down. That's some of the other things that as children we must understand, that sometimes when we tell our parents something, they may not remember and we get frustrated. But I just told you that yesterday. But we have to be aware that the memory, it's not the same.
And hearing as well.
Hearing and their eyesight.
Yes.
So sometimes we think that they have heard something, or we think that they will remember, but they probably don't.
My grandmother lost her eyesight. And I didn't know.
You didn't know? Wow.
I didn't know. She was just pretending that she was
That's what I'm saying.
able
So
to
the
see properly.
embarrassment with just saying that I cannot see.
Yes. Yes. When I got myself the family a brand new television set. I went to her and I said to her, Mama, I have a brand new TV there. Come and take a look at it, because I know she liked to watch her soap operas and so on. and she came outside. And I noticed she was kind of like feeling her way. So I said, what happened to you?
You see?
And then she's telling me that she couldn't see.
What I mean? So these are the things, Andre, we don't, that's where the empathy comes in, when you don't understand what's actually happening. So the memory, the eyes, the ears, these are things that happen. Their weight, their body changes. We see the wrinkles, we see certain things happening, and so we have to understand that these things are changing, and we have to be aware of that as well, and how we talk to them and how we treat them.
And here's one of the, should I say scariest changes, right? When they're accustomed to being maybe with the rest of the family, say everybody's in the living room, and of course they have the VIP seat there, because we treated our grandmother like she was VIP.
That's right.
Right? And all of a sudden you notice they're not coming on the chair anymore.
Oh boy.
Right? She's staying on the bed. She's not coming as often as she used to. And all of a sudden now, she's not coming, period.
That's right.
You just see her on the bed. The most you do is just probably sit up.
Yes.
To have something to eat. And then she go back to lie down. And then, you start to notice now she's not sitting up now.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
So the regression.
Yes, you can see it.
Keeps
you can
on
see
going
it.
down. And even one of the things in the conversation, Andre, especially for men, the sexuality changes in terms of how if you're still having sex.
That's
what I'm talking about. Yes, that, Andre.
Sexuality changes.
Yes, when I say sexuality, I mean the sexual health.
I thought it was a sex change.
Not the no, well, Andre, that too. Some people, you never know. You just never know. But these are the things, again, the sexual health, they have concerns. Some of them, it's not the same. They cannot do certain things.
True.
And of course, if you have the parents together, that is another dimension that they have to go through between the two of them. Because one may be more vibrant than the other.
Yes. I remember I spoke with an elderly gentleman, and he had some issue, right? He had some issue, and he had to take some medication, right, to deal with the issue. But the side effect was that he couldn't have an erection.
Okay.
Right?
See?
So I asked him, I said to him, so how do you feel about that? Because, he's an elderly gentleman. But he can still, he still walks around. He said to me, at my age, I won't have sex with nobody. So I'd rather take that one.
Yes, but that's part of it too as well. And their weight. The next thing is that some of us shrink. We get smaller.
We lose weight.
We get shorter. And then even that is a little strange because you're not accustomed to seeing your parents so small.
That is true.
I
always saw my grandfather as this tall man.
And all of a sudden, he shrunk.
I'm looking down at him and say, what happened?
Exactly. So these are things that can be daunting, and they can be really hard on just the relationship. But quick before we're just going to wrap up into solutions for bridging the gap. It's an open communication. We must have communication. Foster open and transparent conversations about our needs, our feelings, and expectations to prevent misunderstandings, and make the environment easy for your parent to tell you what they need to tell you, or for you to say what you need to say. When there's a loving and open environment, it's easier for people to communicate better with love. Empathy and understanding. Make an effort to understand each other's perspectives and challenges to build a stronger connection. Proactive planning. Again, we said discuss potential future care needs, health issues, and financial matters in advance to minimize surprises and emotional decision making. Acknowledge and integrate the differences. Recognize generational differences in lifestyles and values, and find ways to incorporate these differences into a connected relationship. And this one there is a real one, Andre, because my daughter wanted to do some things. She's a content creator and she wanted to take pictures and do all of that. And I didn't care to do half of the things. And that bridging of that gap was almost an argument, because she felt, Mom, but you can come and take a picture for me, you can take a video there, and I'm like, I don't care to do that. So even that, in terms of just acknowledging the differences between the gaps, the generations, what your mother is willing to do or is willing to partake in, she probably no longer wants to, or your grandfather no longer wants to do that. So we must understand the differences in the generations, and seeking support. Recognize that the challenges of aging are significant, and that seeking professional or external support for yourself and your family is a sign of strength. So we can seek support. And I know we have a show, I really like that one, Mind Matters, where you can get that emotional support. If you feel that it's to a place where you need counseling, you need, psychiatric evaluation, you need psychological assessment, it's something that you can definitely look into to help with these issues, Andre, because they can be really deep, and they can also affect your emotional and your mental well-being.
And we have Mind Matters coming up soon.
Exactly. So we wrap up, Andre?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening.
And thank you so much, Lotus, for your service.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, this has been Unrestricted, hosted by Lotus. Stand by now for Mind Matters. But just before that, we have a short presentation by Mr. Elwin St. Rose. He's the independent candidate for Ancillary Canneries. And this short presentation, it'll be on poisonous political rhetoric. So please stand by for that, coming up in just a moment. Poisonous political rhetoric, a short talk given by the independent candidate for Ancillary Canneries, Mr. Elwin St. Rose.
From coast to coast.
I would love to hear it.
We're revving up the airwaves.
Are you sleeping?
On 95.9 FM, the Alpha of radio.
My fellow St. Lucians and my brothers and sisters in ancillary canneries, today I want to address the temperature of our politics